Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back for episode 35 of the Bluegrass MMA podcast.
Episode 35 already.
Can you believe it, David?
Yeah, I feel like I said that every week, though.
I know. Although it should have been 36 this week. However, you ditched me last week
Yeah.
to do another podcast.
Yeah, you deserved it.
I feel violated. And
I was on the Cincy Brewcast, though, so go out and check that out if you haven't already. It's on my Facebook page, Twitter. I think I put it on Instagram, too.
how was it?
Put it everywhere. It was much better than this podcast.
That's it. You got to go.
I got to drink beer.
I'm going to have to get Gary up here for an episode.
Well, I got to drink free beer, so
What type of beer?
you should give me some free beer.
I got you a free Starbucks, man. What else more do you want?
I brought that here.
Lies.
It was from Dogberry Brewing up in Westchester.
Was it? Is that good? I don't.
Yeah. So the idea, the reason that the podcast was there, they just released a new IPA, a New England style IPA, which is really good. And then they also this week are going to start canning. So that's why we're there. It was pretty cool. Got to hang out with the Gnarly Gnome and the people from Dogberry. So yeah, definitely go out and check that out if you haven't yet. It is on my social media, as I mentioned. But yeah, excited to be back
That's
home
good.
here. It feels
great.
I get to talk a little bit more on this one.
You-
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. I honestly, to be full disclosure here for you, David, I have not listened to your podcast with the
Well,
Beercast.
we should stop this.
We should stop this
stop
right now.
this and-
listen
yeah.
to it, and I can
We'll come
recap
back.
it. Tell you how bad you are.
Yeah. I don't think. Are you going to get close to your mic at all during this whole show, or are you just going to sit back and
I'm going to sit back.
hope people can hear you?
Apparently, there's a lag to it. There's nothing. I don't know what I can do about that, but I'll blame that on Spectrum. I have Spectrum cable here at the house.
Oh,
Yeah,
you got to get Cincinnati Bell.
they don't offer it here.
That's horrible.
It is. Well, I take it back. They do offer it, but they only offered 10 megabytes download, which is pretty much I can watch like a 56K video
Yeah.
like speed. Yeah, I don't want that. We won't be able to do a podcast if that was the case.
Oh, that would be horrible.
That would be very horrible. I can't have that.
Well, hopefully that gets fixed.
Yes, hopefully.
But I mean, it's kind of weird last weekend not having any events whatsoever in our entire coverage area. I mean, we have that a lot during like the holidays, Christmas, and that December is always a crapshoot. But a random February weekend with no shows. Of course, there was supposed to be the Border Wars event, but that was canceled.
That was unfortunately all due to several things, but now we got an return this weekend, Colosseum Combat, and then next weekend, David, huge event with the Arnold Classic going on up in Columbus, Ohio, with
Alliance.
2 shows, Friday and Saturday night, Alliance MMA. It's going to be a big weekend for Ohio MMA at least, as well as I feel like MMA throughout the Ohio Valley region, because on Saturday night, it's pretty much an all-pro card. They're bringing in lots of pros from all over the region. But this weekend, Colosseum Combat. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm probably going to catch the replay. I know you and Gary are going to hold it down up
Yes.
in Kokomo. I do have to get to Kokomo. That's like one of my short list of places I need to go for a show.
Have you ever been up there?
No. So that's... this fight card is definitely a really good fight card, one that would be worth making the trip up. Unfortunately, I can't. But the following weekend, I'll be at Hard Rock in Lexington. Gary and I will be down there. You'll be in Columbus.
I'll be up Columbus with good old Aaron Garrett.
Yes, and also Bobby Emmons, who I'm sure he's doing grappling. I'm sure he's going to take a last-minute fight
Yeah.
and end up on that Alliance card.
I'll corner him.
Probably fight at heavyweight.
Yeah. I mean, it only makes sense. I'm going to be mad if he doesn't show up for the fights.
He better. Unless he's
Right.
too drunk off of Michelob Ultra.
Nick Ultra.
He used to he used to always check in. Every time he would drink Mick Ultra, he would check it in on Untapped, which is a beer app. And it was like, once you check in a beer, you don't need to continue to check and
Hey, he's gonna let everybody
Michelob
know.
Ultra every single time that you drink one.
He's gonna let the crew know that he's drinking.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. Like I said, he probably will take a fight. Hopefully, Travis Davis' opponent doesn't fall out, or who else is fighting on that card? We don't know yet. Have they announced any of the fights?
There's been a couple announcements on that.
I know Devontae Smith and Justin Edwards.
Main event. That's going to be one heck of a main
Yeah.
event.
Well, Aaron was asking. He was saying we need to get a main event. Like that's your main event right there. You got a UFC veteran and one of the best prospects in the state of Ohio. That's your main event right there.
Oh, absolutely.
And then Jordan Espinosa and CJ Hamilton, which should be a really good fight at 125. Two flyweights who were on the Dana White's Contender Series. Two guys who probably with a win, I mean, could be right back in that. Maybe get into the UFC.
Oh, absolutely. Or at least be on the short list to get in.
And then Travis Davis and Jesse Murray, number 1 and number 2 at light heavyweight in the state of Ohio, and they're fighting at middleweight. But they both, to be honest with you, are probably true middleweights. So that should be that's probably, I don't want to say sleeper because I think all 3 of those fights are getting a lot of hype. But that's the one that people aren't probably talking about as much. But that's the one that I definitely want to make sure that I see. You have to go Facebook Live.
Of those 3,
I won't tell.
Of those 3 fights, which one are you most excited to see?
Probably that one. The main event is really interesting. I always love watching Devontae Smith fight, and it'll be really interesting seeing Justin Edwards fight back in Ohio for the first time in a really long time.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Aaron telling us Q Parks against Rocky Edwards. That's on the card as well.
Yes, it is.
That's another really intriguing fight, and I got to give whoever the matchmaker for this fight card, I got to give him a lot of credit. But then I know Aaron's been doing a lot of the matchmaking, but that's another really intriguing kind of under the radar. I mean, Rocky always brings a huge crowd every time he fights in Columbus, and
honestly, I think that fight or Smith Edwards is going to be the two. One of those fights is going to be the fight of the night.
That and some other fights I know. Alfred Leisure's fighting Trey Taylor. That should be a good one. Trey is one of those guys who you can't sleep on him.
You can't at all.
He's 5-5, but he's faced some really tough opponents.
Absolutely. And when he's on, he's on.
And I think he started out his career like 0-3, I want to say, or like 1-4, something not great. But he came back and I remember he lost to Jarrell Hodge. That was a tough fight. But he's a guy who always shows up to fight and not in a bad way, but I'm kind of surprised we're seeing Alfred Leisure back in action. He always has dealt with a ton of injuries.
He has.
And he is on the wrong side of 30 at this point and lost to Jarrell Hodge also in his last outing. So that seems to be a theme, I guess, on the show. Yeah.
But granted, in that fight, it was more due to the cut than anything.
Yeah.
You are right. Trey Taylor 0-3, and then he's on a 3-fight winning streak coming into this fight.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, and the fight before that was Jarrell Hodge, right?
No, that was 4 fights ago.
Okay. Yeah, because I know he was kind of on a winning streak when he fought Jarrell. He had won a couple fights.
He won one, then lost one.
Okay, but
either way,
if he started 0-3 and he's 5-5 now, he's 5-2.
You did math. I'm proud of you.
So, still, 5-2 and Alfred Leisure's 5-1 in his last 6. So really, when you look at it just from the outside looking in and say, 5-5 versus 5-1, not that great of a fight. But if you look at the recent history,
exactly,
it becomes a much more interesting fight.
Right, and those first 3 losses on his record, the most recent one of the 3 was back in 2014. So that was going on 4 years ago now. So yeah, anybody can improve a lot in 4 years.
I know I don't know where he trains now, but I know for a while he was training with Scott Shealy, at least part time. I don't know if he's training there full time, but
I would imagine he's somewhere up there because he's the last 8 of his fights have been with IT Fight Series.
Aaron telling us they just announced Davis Horacio versus Mike Mason. So I'm assuming it's a middleweight fight, yeah.
But enough about Alliance MMA. going into not this weekend, but the weekend after. This weekend, we get Colosseum Combat. Let's talk about Colosseum Combat and what's on that card. Originally, the main event was scheduled for Jonathan Ivey versus Sean Salmon. Unfortunately, Salmon has undergone some illness, I believe. Is that correct, David?
I'm not sure.
I believe that's what I read. He got sick, had to pull out a fight. Mark Slater tried to look for an opponent for him as a replacement for Ivey.
Yeah.
Nothing came up.
I know Jordan Mitchell wanted that fight pretty bad.
Jordan Mitchell wanted to fight, and so did Aaron Bush. Also wanted to fight, and there was a little exchange going back and forth on Facebook between Ivey and Bush.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of,
I haven't seen that.
It was good. Ivey's big thing was, I've been in the game for a long time. I've had 50 plus fights. I'm only looking to fight people who have been in the UFC.
100 fights, I want to say.
It's somewhere up that way,
yeah.
up in that area.
He's had a lot of fights.
Yeah, but he wanted to fight somebody with an established name, somebody that's had UFC.
That makes sense.
Fight before.
That's fair.
And oh yeah, absolutely. And Bush basically saying, fight me, it'll be easy money for you then. But what's it do for Ivey? He wins. He beats Aaron Bush, who on the big picture is nobody compared to Ivey, who's been around the block once or twice.
Yeah, I wouldn't go calling fighters and nobody, but I understand what you mean. I'm always surprised when I see those fights when a guy with that many fights takes on a guy with 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 record.
Right.
Dan Severn did that a lot, and when he was in his 40s and just going around fighting pretty much anybody, and lost a couple times. So
sometimes you need the money, I guess.
Yeah, but that would be an interesting fight. I think at this point in their careers.
Absolutely. Wait, who are you talking about? Ivey and
Aaron Bush and
no, I like that fight. Old versus new. Bush is.
Yeah, it sounds like Ivey doesn't want any part of that. It sounds like also he didn't want any part of Jordan Mitchell, who I know wanted that.
Right.
I know Mitchell doesn't have the greatest record. It's like 3-9, I want to say, and Ivey just beat Mitchell too. So
he just fought. But Ivey's looking to get on the April Colosseum Combat card, if that can happen. So
maybe I'll have to make my way up there then.
I say you can pack a few pounds on. You get in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I haven't been to the UFC, unfortunately.
Hey, we can pop. I can create a
maybe
character.
Maybe Salmon will be healthy by then.
Maybe. But the co-main event in this weekend's event, Reggie Merriweather taking on Tom Shove, has been promoted to the main event. And
it's a good fight.
That is a great fight.
Reggie's kind of flying under the radar. He's won 5 fights in a row.
He's definitely flying on the radar. And I think a lot of that is to him, his personality. He doesn't really talk much. He's very quiet. And when you look at him from a fan perspective, you would think, hey, this guy doesn't look too dangerous.
Right.
But he goes in there and he just brawls. He doesn't care. He throws it all on the line.
He just beat Joe Lyle in his last fight, too, for Colosseum Combat. So
he did.
I don't know who their 155 champion is, but this would have been an interesting title fight, I think.
It absolutely would have been.
Between Shof and Reggie.
Although Shof is coming off a loss, I do believe.
Who cares?
Right? They just tossed belts out nilly-willy. I'm sorry. He's coming off a win versus Joe Lyle as well.
Oh, see? Yeah, they both beat Joe Lyle.
Right. See,
was that a Hoosier event?
Both Colosseum Combat.
Okay.
Merriweather went to a decision with Joe Lyle, and Tom Shoff beat him in the late in the first round.
Yeah. That's still, I mean, that would have been an interesting title fight.
Oh, absolutely. Would have been a great title.
Now Mark Slater has an extra title. See, he put on his titles. He made the mistake of putting the weight class on the title. Now you can only use that for the heavyweight weight class.
Yeah, but if you're going to get a heavyweight title, what's it matter?
For the Jonathan Ivey, you should just put Colosseum Combat Champion. You can give it to anybody.
I guess that's one way.
You can use it for anybody. He does have some cool belts, though. Between him and Hard Rock, it must be that B2 Digital money.
Honestly, the best belts out there on the regional level, hands down, no questions asked, V3. The best belts.
They must have Pro-Am belts make their belts.
I don't know who makes their belts, but
Pro-Am belts make some awesome belts.
They do. They just posted a picture on their Instagram of Devontae Smith holding up their belt.
Oh, yeah.
That belt is sweet.
Yeah, I saw him and the IT belt as well. Aaron drove all the way down to
Yeah.
Memphis.
Yeah.
Didn't even pick us up.
No, he just said, screw you guys.
He's banned from from listening to our podcast.
Aaron, I know you're listening right now, so you can just close the browser
I'm sure
out.
people can hear your phone vibrating.
That was you.
No, it wasn't.
That was you. I felt the
My phone's on silent.
negative, sir.
Yes, it is. My phone's on silent. So you can silence your phone too. This is a professional podcast.
Also,
And you have it on top of the mixer so it vibrates even more? Wow.
Also funny on the card is Justin King, Michael Ricketts. I would assume that has now been promoted to the co-main event.
Yeah.
Would be my assumption on that.
Yeah, King and I was kind of surprised that they hadn't fought before because both of those guys from Indiana, both being 125 pounders, been around for a while. They, I was surprised that they hadn't fought.
No. Then also you got Laurie Thornton versus Donnie Ballou.
Yeah.
You just did an article on Donnie Ballou.
Yeah, he's been talking about how he's been working on his striking a lot since he moved up to drive. I think, I probably am wrong about this, but I think he's been working with Rob Radford, some on his striking.
Rob Radford does train out of
Drive?
Drive, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I talked to Scott Wegman before Donnie fought, because I think that his Hard Rock fight was his first fight under the Drive banner. So I talked to Scott Wegman, who's the owner of Drive,
Great guy.
and asked him, hey, what's up with Donnie? How's he doing? And things like that. And he said, yeah, we've been working on his striking, and Donnie shoots for a double leg takedown 10 seconds into the fight. Ends up getting a really nice armbar, though, beating James Adcock. He's won all three of his pro fights by submission in the first round. So.
Yes, he has. First one was 25 seconds, a minute 15, 2 minutes 17
He's
seconds.
been impressive. I mean, for a guy that he had I think 8-7 amateur record, been really impressive as a pro.
Very impressive. I got this. Yes, his last fight, we were there.
Yeah, that was in Covington.
Yep. Yeah, he's very impressive in that outing.
I think I might have been at all three of his pro fights. Because I don't know if it was his first fight or his second fight he fought in at Turfway. He beat was it Sean Barnett or Eugene Barrett?
Eugene Barrett.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have notes, I don't.
You also did an article on him. So you have to do that research.
Yeah. But we actually put the video in, and that's something I've been trying to do more. We put the video of his last fight in the article. So go check that out if you want a little bit of a preview. Are you doing it? I know we have an article on Kyle Van Camp, who's making his pro debut as well, coming later this week from Gary. He's going to be, all three, the second Van Camp to make his pro debut. The eldest Van Camp.
The eldest of the three.
Fighting Blaze Rogers, I think.
Blaze Rogers, yes, sir.
So, and then also, even though I think people were saying he said he was going to go pro after his last amateur fight. Kellen supposedly might take another amateur fight.
What do you think of that? So he's got 10 amateur fights, undefeated.
I don't know, man. I think once you go 10-0 and beat some of the guys that he's beaten, there's really nothing else for you to prove as an amateur.
Well, not necessarily that you're trying to prove or show off or anything of that sort. Maybe you're trying to better your game. Maybe you feel like you're lacking in certain areas. You want to refine the skills.
I mean, if you watch that last fight, there was absolutely he outclassed Jacob Dorman, and it looked like a guy with 10 pro fights and Dorman is 7-0 heading into that fight.
Tough guy.
Yeah, but Kellen made him look like they were different levels.
No, I agree with you.
His striking was amazing.
There was probably 2, maybe 3 10-8 rounds in that fight.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think that we, Kelly, Patrick, and I said that at maybe the first or second round was a 10-8 round. But yeah, it looked like Dorman was definitely in a fight, and Kellen after the fight looked like he just went for like a run or something. I mean, he looked tired, but he I don't think he got hit really cleanly at all in that fight.
No, especially towards later rounds. Not much at all.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know what else he needs to get better at as an amateur.
But don't you want to make sure? Wouldn't you want to make sure somebody following in his brother's footsteps? I feel like they're on another level than most fighters in our area.
Yeah.
Their records obviously show that. But do you think he wants to make sure he's ready? Because
Yeah, I mean, if he has any second doubts at all, it probably makes sense for him to stay as an amateur. But I don't know. Just outside looking in,
right,
I really don't see what else he has to.
he definitely has nothing else to prove.
Yeah.
He's proved it all.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know. That's just me.
And there's not many fighters nowadays that go 10 amateur fights.
Yeah.
Usually,
In Ohio, there will be, though.
yes,
They won't have a
unfortunately.
choice.
Right. But in other
I
states,
think it's 8 amateur fights. 8 or 9.
9
Yeah.
amateur
Dumb.
fights.
How many did CM Punk have
He had
before
a
he
lot.
turned pro?
Well, if you count the WWE matches, hundreds.
He didn't even have any Brawl for All matches. That's what they need to bring back.
Brawl for All.
You don't remember the Brawl for All?
I remember the name, but
You
I
gotta
just
look
can't
up
think
on
of it.
WWE Network.
Brawl
With they actually had actual like tough man contests in WWE during the Attitude Era. You need to look it up.
Brawl for All. But also,
Steve Dr. Death Williams.
the other pro fight taking place at the Colosseum Combat this weekend is David Stevens taking on Zach Eddington.
Yeah,
Stevens owned 1. Eddington is 1-1.
I remember Eddington or Edgington had a bunch of amateur fights, but I don't really know much about either one of those guys, to be honest with you.
I don't either.
They got a couple, at least one title fight, amateur title fight. So, Ian
Yes.
Pomfret and
Even
Jordan
Pomfret,
Kreider. And then Christian Jones is fighting, is it Chris Heffernan?
Chris Heffernan.
Yeah. Which you wrote an article about Christian Jones
Christian Jones.
back in January, I think.
Wait, not this past January.
Yeah, like as soon as the fight was announced, you wrote something. I don't know.
Did I?
Yeah.
I write so many articles I can't remember.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. So that's a quick rundown. I'm not sure where I know Mark Slater was he didn't really say where they were going to stream the show or whether they were going to, but
I would
hopefully
imagine it's
there'll
going
be
to
a
be
stream
on
available.
Fight TV. I'd imagine that's where it was last time,
yeah.
wasn't it?
If not, get up there and get you a ticket. That's the only way to guarantee you can see the fights live.
As with any MMA show, you should be there live.
Yeah.
But if not, always catch a stream.
But yeah, that's the only show this weekend, Colosseum Combat. And then next weekend we've got 4 shows because there's also Cage Thunder.
Is that one actually taking place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I was unsure of the last
Scott
time we talked.
Corbin.
Is he
Scott
fi-
Corbin, yeah.
Oh wait, no. Sorry, I was thinking of
Cage Madness.
no. The Chuck Haskell show.
Oh, MMA Brawl Room.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a show. I think it's March 17th. He has an event. So
Yeah, there is 4. I totally forgot about that fight with Cage Thunder.
yeah,
And when's
that's all amateur show. I don't even know. I haven't really been paying too much attention to that one.
And then when's Bayfront Brawl?
That's the 17th as well. In Erie. Antonio Castillo and Brandon Saylor in the main event. Should be a good main event.
Oh, absolutely.
For the bantamweight title. And then we've got Pinnacle on March 24th. And then March 31st, Honor. So busy month of March.
That's what I like.
After slow January and February, it's starting to really heat up. And Pinnacle, I confirmed today, is going to be on Flow Combat. So I'm making my way back up to Pittsburgh and going to do commentary. So I know a lot of the fights are going to be announced this week. See some familiar names on the fight card.
Yes. I'm going to try this feature out here, David, so our listeners can see and our viewers on Facebook Live. So right now, if you head over to BluegrassMMA.com/events, or if you just go to BluegrassMMA.com and in the navigation bar, click on events, you'll see all the upcoming fights throughout the Ohio Valley region. And as you can see right now on the page, We got some of the featured events taking place, all the Colosseum Combat Hard Rocks coming up, and then, of course, all of the other fights taking place throughout pretty much May. We got a lot of fights coming up.
Yeah, we try to keep those updated as much as possible. Anything that usually if it's announced, we put it on there.
Correct. And then if you click on any of the events, such as Colosseum Combat 43 taking place this weekend, you can scroll down and get some information on the actual event, as well as any information that is pertaining to the Colosseum Combat. That way you can stay up to date with everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's always really cool. One of the things that's always, I don't want to say surprised me, but that's our second most popular page on the website is the event page. So it's cool to have people be able to see. And then usually I'll usually link to the fight card in the event page. So it takes you to mixedmartialarts.com, but it gives you a direct link. And if the promotion actually puts their fights on there, then you'll be able to see the fights. If not, a lot of times we try to keep the fights up to date as much as possible on the website.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Transitioning away from upcoming fights and fights that are going down this weekend, let's talk about our Gym Madness contest we got going on.
Yeah, this was actually came about on our way back from Honor. We started talking about it, and
we did.
We wanted to do something cool to kind of play off of March Madness, and decided that we're going to do a 64 slot bracket with the best gyms in the area.
Yeah, so basically from now until the end of the month, February 28th, we encourage all fans, fighters, trainers, coaches, if you support local mixed martial arts at all, go to our website, BluegrassMMA.com/gym-madness, or of course go on to Facebook, find our page, and you'll see the link posted up on there. You go to the page, you enter in your information, and then the gym information, and then that nominates the gym. So you want to get everybody involved at that gym to vote because it's the top 64 entries.
Right.
Not just one nomination you get entered into it. It's the top 64 overall.
Yeah.
So if there's 75 gyms, the top 64 with the most entries will get selected.
We've already got a lot, too.
Yeah.
So make sure that if your gym has not been nominated, or if you think that they have been nominated, each person should only nominate once. But you can nominate the same gym multiple times. And also sign up for our newsletter while you do it.
Yeah. But so once we get the 64 teams in March, we're going to...
Gyms, whoever.
Yeah. Fight teams. Once we get the 64 entries, we're going to start in March, pit everyone up against each other in a bracket-style matchup.
Yeah.
And then we're not sure how we're going to break it down as far as, is it going to be every weekend or every few days?
I think it's going to be, on the week, probably Friday through Sunday. We'll be voting every weekend.
Yep. And so
starting the first weekend.
64 teams down to 32, 32 to 16, so on and so forth.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll be able to vote on our Facebook page. And then I think we're going to do the finals on Instagram. So
yeah.
Because we've been trying to push Instagram a lot.
Yeah. So if you haven't already, Instagram.com/BluegrassMMA, or just search BluegrassMMA.
Yeah.
Either or.
We've been doing a lot more on Instagram.
Yeah, I've noticed that throughout, not just with Bluegrass MMA, but with other companies that I manage their social media. Twitter doesn't get much anymore. It's almost like it's a dying social network.
Yeah, there's too many Russian bots on there.
That's where we get all of our likes from.
Yeah. I think Trump kind of ruined it for everybody.
I think he revived it for the most part.
Ruined Twitter for everybody.
No, he revived it.
Yeah.
I digress. It doesn't matter. Nonetheless.
Let's talk about school shootings, or what other political things you want to get into.
I want to get into
some news and notes. What's been going on this week? We had a big busy news day. If you have been paying attention to the website, just posted about a half hour ago, Tyler Shipp is returning at Hard Rock MMA 98 against Derek Smith. So going to defend his Hard Rock middleweight title down in Bowling Green. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be at that event, so that sucks. But I'll have to watch it live stream.
Right. What do you think of Tyler Shipp?
I think he's been impressive thus far. I think the way, if nothing else, it's a cool story that he's won 3 titles in 3 different weight classes within a calendar year. And then, I mean, obviously has a huge support system. I mean, ran away. He got the most votes out of anybody in our 2017 Bluegrass MMA Awards, which, coming from a small town in Indiana, that's pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely.
And been impressive. And not just going out and just, winning the fights. He's going out and dominating these fights. So, and still just 20 years old.
Right.
Graduated high school last year. And there's actually a cool article on Bluegrass MMA from, I think it was when he fought Nick Jewell, when he won the light heavyweight title. He had just graduated high school like 2 months before that. So
they even put up a little congrats Tyler on their billboard outside the school.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got to give him the Amateur Fighter of the Year award at
the last
Hard Rock event in Shepherdsville, which is, have we talked since then? I can't remember if we have or not, but either way, that was a great night of fights.
We talked at night on the way back. That's about it.
That was a great night of fights.
It was.
I was exhausted that day. I cannot fall asleep in cars when someone else is driving or when I'm driving, that's a good thing.
It's definitely good.
But I was so tired coming home that I fell asleep in your car.
Yeah.
So that means I trust you, or I was just really tired. But that was also the craziest Waffle House experience I've ever had. Literally, everybody at the Waffle House had walked out.
Yeah.
Except for 2 guys. One guy with what was he wearing, like a biker jacket or something?
The other guy was wearing pajamas.
Literally, as we were there,
yeah, that's quite
like multiple people walked out. And so the guy that was the server could not multitask at all. So he literally went up to one table, took their order, and would get that order cooked and would not take anybody else's order until that order was cooked and delivered to the table. Wouldn't even greet the table or get people drinks. It took us a half hour just to get drinks.
What'd he say? Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a mess. Yeah. It was like a 2-hour Waffle House experience that needed to be like 20 minutes or 25 minutes.
But it was great bonding time for the MMA or for the Bluegrass MMA crew.
Yeah.
We don't have those
shit talking. No way. We really didn't do too much that night. We just spent all that B2 digital cash that we got.
Anyways.
That was a fun event. I don't even know how we got on that topic. Talking about Tyler Shipp. Yeah, and I know that Derek Smith he'd won the Hard Rock light heavyweight title and middleweight title as well. So that's Smith has 12 fights, twice as much experience as Tyler Shipp does. So it's a really tough fight for Tyler Shipp going into this title defense.
It is. Now let's play future matchmaker here. He wins. What happens next?
I don't know.
Shipp wins.
I don't know. I was looking at the Hard Rock rankings. There's not really a ton of, at least, big names. Shipp is the champion at 185, and then.
Do you think he sticks with Hard Rock, or do you think he goes elsewhere?
I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to see him take some tough fights elsewhere. I think he likes fighting for Hard Rock, and Hard Rock keeps him busy. I know he's been wanting to fight. I don't know if he ever actually did any grappling matches, but he had been wanting to fight since he was 15. So that's why, he basically the day he turned 18, fought for Hard Rock. So.
Let me ask you this question: what do you think local fighters, specifically amateurs, should have promotion loyalty? Should they stick with one promotion?
I think, there's no reason why not to.
What's the reason to?
If the guy's going to keep giving you fights, and you're the champion in 3 different weight classes for that promotion, that's a reason.
I'm not speaking specifically about Tyler, but just...
Well, yeah, there's... You would hope that some longevity in a promotion, you keep winning, you get the opportunity to fight for titles. You would hope that you wouldn't just randomly go to another organization, fight for a title. I know that does happen all the time, but
that happens majority of the time.
I think you're more likely, and also I think you build up some rapport with a promotion, and there's there's nothing against. There's no you. Once you fight for one promotion, you kind of know what to expect from that promotion. You know how their events run, etc.
Right.
And it makes sense that if you feel comfortable with that promotion, why would you not keep fighting for them? But then you also probably at least once or twice need to get out of your comfort zone and do it as an amateur. So that way you're not when you make your pro debut and that promoter says, "Hey, I know you fought for me this so many times as an amateur, but I don't have anything for you as a pro," which that's kind of shitty. But that way, when you make your pro debut, you don't have to go and fight out of state and that be your first fight, and then you're all thrown out of whack, and then you lose fights, you get a horrible matchup, whatever. It probably makes sense to do that once or twice as an amateur. Like, go back to Kellen Van Camp. He went and fought in Idaho.
He did. For
Front Street Fights. So that was pretty cool. I mean, there's nothing saying, hey, you can't just hit up some, not random, but some other matchmaker from somewhere else that's within driving distance and say, hey, I'd like to go fight on your card. I think that fighters probably don't do that enough.
I agree. They don't do it as much as they should. Now, going on to the pro side, how do you feel about, what would be your stance if you're a fighter, you turn pro? I feel like a lot of them care about the money. I'm not in their position, so I can't necessarily say. But from my perspective, I know for my first few pro fights that I'm probably not going to make nothing.
Yeah.
But do you think that should be a concern at all?
I think if you decide to turn pro and your first probably 5 fights, money can't be even probably 10% of the decision to fight. I think that the money is going to be you can maybe make a little bit more money and go and fight for a different organization and get a horrible matchup, horrible fight. Not that you're taking easy fights, but you want to have a good progression of, you don't want to be fighting a guy with 5 fights your pro debut.
Right.
You want to have a good progression. So it makes sense in your first couple of fights. Don't worry about money. Just take whatever you can get and get a good fight that makes sense. And then after a few fights, if you are, have some wins under your belt, then maybe go to a bigger organization. Perfect example is Jeff Hughes. I mean, he went, I think 6-1, and fought mostly for RFO and Cage Madness promotions that he knew. Correct. And then took a really tough fight for IT Fight Series. Came up short against Dan Spawn, but that was a big step up for him. But then went back and got another win for RFO, and then now is fighting for LFA, and he's their champ. So now he is defending that title in April.
Now, granted, we don't know what he got paid for his fights. Maybe he got paid way more than somebody else would.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's a good progression, I think. He had 6 or 7 fights, quote-unquote, locally.
Now, it is a lot easier for a heavyweight to go that route because heavyweight division isn't very deep. So it's easier for somebody like him to go and just get a couple of fights locally. And
the other thing that I've heard from up-and-coming fighters is that they don't necessarily want to fight for an LFA or a CES because a lot of times they want you to sign a multi-fight deal. And I know that fighters are really against that, especially, guys that have... personally, I probably wouldn't sign more than a 2-fight deal unless it was with the UFC or Bellator. But that's from the outside looking in. I'm not a fighter. Some guys, that works for them.
Right.
And one of the interesting things you see with, especially LFA, is they usually get a lot of guys from bigger name gyms.
They do.
So they get the up-and-coming guys from bigger name gyms more often than not.
I think one of the things I would do if I was as a fighter is if I was offered a multi-fight contract, have it somewhere in there written, and it may already be in there. I'm not sure.
UFC clause? I think
UFC clause A, but also a clause where if you don't get me a fight in X amount of months.
Oh yeah, they probably. I'm sure they have that. It's either a number of fights or a time frame. I think like Adam Townsend went and fought for LFA, but he got 3 fights in like 9 months or something. Yeah. So, and he was probably 1 fight away from the UFC and then came up lost.
Yeah.
So
Now he's fighting overseas, along with Dom Steele's fighting this weekend as well. Actually, he fights
I saw that in Russia.
tomorrow night, our time. I believe 11 o'clock Thursday night, our time, on UFC Fight Pass.
So it'll be like during the day in Russia?
No, it's Friday night there.
Oh, they're not 24 hours ahead.
You're right.
Maybe it's 11 a.m. our time, Friday.
11 a.m. It said Thursday night. It said 2200, which would be 10 o'clock.
In Russian time or Eastern time?
I have to get back and look that up. Now I'm quite curious.
That's for Fight Nights Global. He's fighting. He's like the only non-Russian on that card, I think.
You know who's commentating there?
No. Jason Chambers.
No, sir. The one and only local
Cyrus Fees.
Cyrus Fees out of Tennessee. He's just signed a event contract to do their commentary.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's really nice.
So you do ring announcing for them too, or just commentary?
He has done both for other promotions. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what it is for this particular.
That would be hard to do.
Oh, yeah. It says Thursday's fight nights. Oh, it begins streaming. It says 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. So is that tomorrow morning? Thursday morning?
But then
Or Friday morning? Yeah, because
it doesn't say.
Russia's like 12 hours ahead of us. This is a great broadcast.
You're right. It says Thursday. I don't know. I'll have to
So tomorrow morning.
but that would be, if they're only 12 hours ahead of us, that'd be 10 o'clock their time, Thursday night.
Yeah. Maybe Russians don't work on Friday.
I guess that's weird.
It's like Bellator when they used to have shows on Thursday night.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah.
Did you watch any fights this past weekend?
No,
You missed Bellator and the UFC?
I did.
Oh, man, there's some great fights this weekend. You missed Matt Mitrione, Roy Nelson, heavyweight Grand Prix. Did you read anything about that?
I know Mitrione won.
Mitrione won, yeah. So Mitrione won the first round and the second round. Third round, Nelson pretty much gave it to him. Had him in crucifix, laying out punches. At one point, thought the ref was going to step in there and stop the fight.
But he didn't.
He didn't. I didn't think he should have, especially at this level. He should have let it keep going, which he did.
Yeah.
But depending on
Mitrione won the decision.
Mitrione decision, but depending on who the judge was,
Yeah.
it could have went 10-8 for Nelson, which would have made it a draw. Which in this case, since it's a tournament bracket, they would have to go into a sudden death fourth round.
Wow.
Which would have been
Overtime.
Awesome. Yeah. Which would have been awesome to
What
see.
if that round's a draw? Then fifth round. Then or they could do hockey like penalty shots. Whoever has the best cup shot.
First off, you can't have a draw in a round.
Yeah, you can 9-9 if you win the round but get a point deducted.
I guess you could, yes.
Or you could have a 10-10 round.
You can't
The
have
rare
10-10.
10-10 round.
You can't have a 10-10 round.
Yeah, you can.
No.
If it's dead even, you can have a 10-10 round. Yes, you can.
What are they going to do, walk around the cage circling each other?
Yeah. Yeah. No punches thrown or landed the entire round.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. And then Sunday night, Cerrone.
Yeah,
Nancy.
I completely forgot that was even happening until I think I went to bed early on Sunday night. And I think it started at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it started at 10. That fight was amazing. It was one of Cerrone's better fights. And then just the sportsmanship afterwards. Nancy jumped over the cage, went over and hugged and kissed Cerrone's mom or grandma.
What?
Yeah, it was a little bit weird, but great show of sportsmanship, which I truly, truly enjoyed.
Huh.
I don't feel like you see that as much lately in the UFC.
No.
And then, of course, your boy Nick Diaz. Or
Nate Diaz. I saw that.
Yeah. Lighting up the joint.
Yeah.
What a crazy SOB.
He's silly. He's so silly.
He's a silly goose.
What else? Got Valor announcing Valor 48.
Yeah. We also got retweeted by Sherdog.
Yeah, they love us.
That was the first.
No, it was like a sixth. They retweet me all the time.
La-di-da.
Either way. Valor 48, though. Lindsay Sweet Tea Jones.
Honestly, I didn't look at that lineup yet for that.
Robert Hale fighting for number one contender, welterweight title. Chelsea Bailey, who was on Ultimate Fighter, Tough 23, taking on Kelly D'Angelo.
Is this the one that's taking place at the Knoxville?
No, this is in Nashville.
Nashville.
Charlie Alexander and Lathon Lawson. Ian Lawler fighting Cromwell Stewart. Got a couple of flyweight fights on there. So that, I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about it once it gets closer. That'll be on Flow Combat. Other than that, not really much else. Muhammad Abdullah and Dustin Parrish both lost.
Yeah, I was a little upset. So it was announced that WXC, the fight permission out of Michigan, was going to be on UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah.
Thought, sweet, cool. I'll sign up for the free trial because I canceled my membership a while back. So go sign up for the free trial and trying to get some more details on it. I looked at the event listing that they had on the UFC Fight Pass, only to see WXC wasn't anywhere on there. So I did some more digging, some more research onto it. They're not going to stream the event live. They're going to show it on tape delay. So it's on there now, but you couldn't watch it live, which I don't understand.
It's tape delayed live.
Yeah, I don't understand the reasoning behind that. And they weren't allowed, so they ended up showing the amateur fights streamed live on their Facebook, but they didn't show any pro fights. So I missed the co-main event with Dustin Parrish and the main event with Muhammad.
Oh, that was dumb.
Yeah, somebody did stream it from Instagram though, so I got to watch a little bit of Muhammad's fight, but I cut out the last second because some security guard came over and made him turn it off. So I did miss that.
Guards.
But yeah, both of our local fighters fell short. Both were very positive afterwards. They weren't down about the loss, which was nice to see. They took it as a learning lesson and are getting right back into the gym.
Jacob Dorman said he was at those fights. Also, if you're watching or listening live on Facebook, Instagram, there's probably some illegal streams of this podcast. If you're watching, if you have any questions, let us know. Or just say hi.
We should probably set that a lot earlier.
We'll wait for everybody to say hi.
This was I don't know how I feel about the Facebook Live.
Todd Neal said lay off the whiskey.
What?
Todd Neal's my favorite.
Todd Neal's awesome.
Hopefully he's still listening. I did see Brandon Higdon sent me Hard Rock. Sent me a something about a Danny Davis Lifetime Achievement Award nomination for Kentucky. They're just nominating people for, I guess it's the KBWC. So
I don't know who Danny Davis is.
He's the promoter of Ohio Valley Wrestling. But they're not giving him an achievement award. The award's named after him. So if you could give anybody, and it doesn't have to be Kentucky, but who would you give a Lifetime Achievement Award to?
For what?
For anything in Ohio, for MMA.
For MMA specific?
Yeah.
I would just going off of...
And I feel like you keep getting further and further away from that microphone.
Assuming this would be the first ever Lifetime Achievement, we'll have to give it to somebody who laid the groundwork for mixed martial arts in the Ohio Valley region. So
Mark Coleman.
Mark Coleman, Sean Salmon.
Wes Sims.
Wes Sims got them in the mix. Yeah.
Bernie Profado.
No, not at all. That's who I would imagine. I mean,
yeah, probably somebody like that.
Nowadays, honestly, somebody who I feel is very active in the scene, I'd probably go Todd Neal.
Yeah.
I mean, he pushes the sport. He's reasonable, understanding, and will listen to you, and will at least hear your concern or your input.
Yeah.
If you feel something's
Or you're
off.
just sucking up.
No.
No, I agree with you. I think that would be a good, but it's kind of tough for a commission to give a member of the commission an award. But I guess if we were giving, we thought about, actually we did give an award. We gave it the Chris Smith Award, right?
We didn't do it this year though.
We gave it to Chris. We gave it to Chris, right? The first year. Or who did we give it to the first year?
I think we only had it 1 year last year.
Yeah. But we named it after him.
Yeah, we gave it to Dom Steele on his behalf.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it, but if we were going to give it to anybody, I was thinking obviously we should give it to Don Shea White's family for this year.
Yeah.
That would have been my
That would be a good
suggestion.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think we should do that.
Yeah. Forgot about it though.
Yeah.
Did we didn't, was that like 25th? Was that 15 or 16 that we gave that? That we gave it away.
The 20 what?
That we gave the first award, the Chris Smith Award.
What year we give it?
Yeah.
I thought last year.
16? Okay. Yeah, I forgot. All right, man. I gotta go drink some beer.
Well, where are we going?
I don't know.
Did you stop at
Let's go to White Oak.
Did you stop at Marathon?
No.
What?
Nope.
Are you stopping anyway?
That's why I'm leaving.
We should
No, I
go
got
to
plenty of
Growler.
beer in the fridge.
No, I'm not surprised.
It's waiting for me.
How was your special brew? How'd that turn out?
Really good. Gotta come over and get some.
Like,
Should have brought you some.
You should have. That would have been good.
I don't
Good
like you that much,
co-host.
though.
Would have done that.
A good what?
Gary would have done that.
Yep. Gary doesn't really drink beer.
Doesn't mean he can't buy it and bring it.
Yeah, but he brewed beer. He didn't brew beer. I don't think he would brew beer either.
Nonetheless, let's not get into the semantics here.
Gary will bring you like some good dip,
Nah, I mean, he'd bring me that
homemade
Ale8,
dip.
that Kentucky Ale8, man.
Yeah.
That's what he would bring.
Or he would bring you his spit can.
So the XFC down in Nashville I went to.
Yeah.
I don't know whose it was, but I had a water bottle there, and they were spitting into water bottle.
Your water bottle?
No, they had their own water bottle. I had my water bottle.
Did you drank it?
I looked over to my left, grabbed my water bottle, and just drank it without even looking at it. And it was minty flavored dip. Oh, man.
I'm going to throw up just thinking about that,
That was,
let alone actually having done it.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's not the experience that anybody wishes.
Let's not talk about that anymore.
for. Hi, Don. How you doing?
Don who? Litke?
Don Licky from Altercation Fight Gear.
I wish that they
Geyer.
would go back to Instigate. What was it? Not Instigator.
That
What was it
that
called
was
before?
the other guy.
Octagon Fight Gear.
Yeah.
I miss Octagon.
I saw him Octagon Fight shirt.
Do you?
Yep.
You wear it to bed.
Every night.
Nothing else.
That's for the after
Family
show.
show.
Well, that about wraps it up this week.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
As-
Follow me on Instagram. I'm not even going to say my Twitter. Follow me on Instagram
Well, they can
at
see your
MMA
Twitter.
McKinney. Just put my Instagram up there. Follow me at this right here. Can you see me? Follow us on social media and also at BluegrassMMA. Give our Facebook page a like because you will need to like the page to get all of the access to vote for Jim Madness and also give us your nominations. We just got a ton come in for Drive MMA. So
I haven't checked my phone at all.
keep nominating.
Yes. Keep doing that.
They were
and-
all probably Scott sending from different fake names.
Yes. We all know Scott. All right, guys. Give us a like, follows, all that good stuff. And until next week.
See ya.
Chilling the most, then rock that